If you're listening to us this morning in the Shelburne area, you'd be listening at 100.3 on the FM dial at 90.5 FM in Metro. On the podium back in the Olympics. Remember the patriotic fervor, the thrill, the will to win at the Vancouver Olympic Games? Well, Canada's summer athletes are ready to ramp it up again as the clock ticks down to the London Olympics. Don't tell your kids about it.
That's right. Canadian children are not supposed to care about winning. That's according to Sport's long-term athlete development program. The national organization has adopted a new training model for kids in rinks, at fields, and on gym floors right across the country. Jamie Ferguson speaks for Sport Nova Scotia.
Morning, Jamie.
Don?
First and foremost, explain to us what the long-term athletic development program is.
Sure. I mean, there have been long-term athlete development models around for many, many years. This is simply the first time that there's been something out. It started about 5 years ago that has been put together, and all sports have then taken a template, essentially, and adopted it for their own specific sport. So really, it's a framework that tries to make sure that the skills that are being taught to participants are appropriate skills depending on their age, their ability level, their experience, so that their actual sport experience is as positive as it can be, whether they want to be recreational and just play for fun or whether they want to be Olympic gold medalists.
Some people you have, I'm sure, talked to hear you say, we're looking to get the best possible athletes out of the other end. Mm-hmm. And they're saying, no, you're not. You don't want the kids to keep score. You want them to play nice all the time. It's a classic case of Canadian political correctness.
Yeah, it's funny. I've had the opportunity to work as a high-performance coach for probably about 15 years in another life. And in my more recent life, I've also been a volunteer coach for minor sport. And I was a volunteer coach in hockey. And even as, 4 or 5 years ago, for the younger ages in hockey, there was no scores being put up. And I would often have parents come to me and say, I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense to me why they're not putting the scores up. The kids all know what the score is. And I said, yeah, they do know what the score is, and that's fine. But the important thing is that they also know where the priority is. And the priority, when they're first learning the skills, is not on the score, it's on developing the skills. So it's fine if they know what the score is. We're not trying to hide anything from the kids, but we're just trying to make sure that we're reinforcing what's most important, given what age they are and what ability level they are.
Why, if you de-emphasize the competition, do you think it will turn out more better athletes down the road a piece?
I think to pick maybe a couple, maybe an individual sport and a team sport to give an example. Let's say, for instance, you were a tennis player and you became a national champion at 13 or 14. The skills that usually win at those ages, which is being very consistent and being very athletic, are not the same skills that win at 18, 19, and 20. And if you become a national champion at 14, it's pretty hard to convince someone that, well, you know what, now you need to change. And while you're changing, you may not have the same types of results. So the important thing is for that 14-year-old to realize that they're on a path and that whether or not they're winning at that age is not the most important thing. It's whether or not they're winning at 18 or 19. Similarly, for a team sport, if we say hockey, if the most important thing for the 11 or 12-year-olds is that the team wins, you often get athletes who would be put into defined roles. So you're going to be a checking winger at the age of 11, and you become very good at being a checking winger. But in the meantime, you never work that much on shooting the puck or on your ability to make plays because you have a role that's defined for you already, and it can actually stunt the skill development of those athletes when the winning at that stage of development becomes more important than the skill development itself.
Are there countries where you can say, here's why they've done this for a while?
Yeah, there are. And in fact, there are sports in Canada that have done it for a while. I think what's a little bit different about this particular model, and I think it's a very positive thing, is that there's also an emphasis on what's called sport for life. So if you remember in the old days, you would always talk about that pyramid. So you have the big base of people at the bottom, and then they gradually move up to the top. But the problem is that all along that pyramid, there's people kind of like you and I who are falling off the side or just trying to hang on and sliding down. Well, the pyramid should really be a square. Everybody should be able to keep taking part. You still have that funnel inside it, but all along the outside you still have people who are competing, so that there's two streams, essentially, of sport that's going on here. One is a model that creates a pathway for those who want to be high performance and have the ability to be high performance athletes, while at the same time making sure the programs are available and skills are being taught for those who simply want to continue to take part in sport for fun or for health or for whatever other reason.
I'm torn between evoking Don Cherry, and I want my children learning the discipline, the rigor, and be able to play injured and all that kind of attitude towards sports. What do you say to those? What do you say to Mr. Cherry?
Well, I think that playing the game is still very important, and it's just how you play it and what you're focused on when you play it. If you're 10 or 11 years old and you're playing the game of whatever sport it is and you're just learning the sport, the most important thing is that you have fun during the game and that you're focused on your skill development. You can still be very dedicated and you can still build character and work very hard and learn to deal with the things that sport can teach you, like difficult decisions that referees make and how to deal with those things. But the most important thing at that stage is not whether or not you win. It's that you're actually using the skills that you're working on when you compete. And when the focus becomes just on winning, you tend to maybe not use some of those skills as much that you haven't developed as well. And over years, what happens is those skills don't get developed as well. So at the end of the day, you don't have as good a chance of being a high-performance athlete as you could have otherwise.
There are 56 national sports bodies under Sports Canada. How many in Nova Scotia?
Nova Scotia, we would have approximately 55 provincial sport organizations, so it's pretty close to the same.
Everybody in?
Yeah, it's going to take some time. And as I mentioned, some sports already had long-term athlete development models, but this time Sport Canada got together and got their sports scientists together and their PhDs and put together a template that was based on the very generic kind of stages of development. And then they've been working over the last 5 years with each of those sports in order to try and make a specific template for their own sports, because you have to add in, obviously, skill development and ages change as you go from sport to sport. So they've put that together now, and everybody's on, but it takes a long time, because once you start changing, for instance, what you're going to be teaching to participants at different levels, you also have to change your coach training and your volunteer training. And so
and parental attitudes.
And your parental attitudes as well. And it really does, I think it's a generational change. I don't think anything like this happens overnight, but I think what you may be seeing now is the first actual rollout of some of it at the community levels, and there are some cultural changes that come along with it.
Jamie, thanks very much.
Oh, thank you,
Good
Don. It's my pleasure. Good to see you too.
Jamie Ferguson is the Chief Executive Officer of Sport Nova Scotia.
Well, we've